What if the reason you feel stuck, small, and overwhelmed has nothing to do with your limitations, and everything to do with a role you never actually signed up for? Stick with me here, because there's a guided meditation at the end of this that might be the most useful 4 minutes of your week. Here's the claim we're going to sit with today, and I know it sounds either grandiose or absurd on first hearing, that the world's healing, the actual state of things around you, depends on you showing up and doing your part. Your reaction to that sentence is probably some version of, "Who am I to think that?" And that reaction is exactly what we're going to examine, because the surprising twist is that accepting you have a real part to play isn't arrogance. It's the opposite. It's the one thing that frees you from the exhausting performance of pretending you're smaller, less capable, and less needed than you actually are. That performance is what I want to talk about first, because most of us are running it constantly, and we've been running it so long we don't even notice the effort anymore. You know the moves. You deflect a compliment before it can land. You add a self-deprecating joke to something you actually worked hard on. You start emails with, "Sorry to bother you." You volunteer for tasks below your skill level because being useful in a small way feels safer than being visible in a bigger one. You watch someone else take credit for something you carried, and you tell yourself it doesn't matter. And underneath all of it, there's a low hum of exhaustion. Because auditioning for a smaller version of yourself, every day, in every room, is actually a full-time job. Here's the part nobody tells you. That performance we call humility. A lot of the time, it's not humility at all. It's just ego in a different outfit. Think about it. Real humility would be, "I don't know exactly what I'm here to do, but I'll show up and do the thing in front of me." What most of us do instead is, "I've decided in advance that I'm not the right person, not qualified enough, not important enough, and I'm going to keep that verdict locked in no matter what the evidence says." That's not modesty. That's a very confident opinion about yourself, delivered with a downward glance. It's still the ego running the show. It's just found that shrinking is a safer costume than shining. Think about a mid-level manager, let's call her Dana. Dana has spent years quietly making herself smaller at work. She deflects credit. She over-apologizes in emails. She volunteers for the grunt work because being indispensable in a small way feels safer than being seen in a bigger one. If you asked her, she'd tell you she's just not the kind of person. She's not a self-promoter. She's humble. But watch what's really happening. Dana has a very fixed idea about what she is and isn't capable of. She's not open. She's not curious. She's decided. And that decision runs her days. Here's a way to think about what's going on. Imagine you've been handed a script for a play. The lines were written specifically for you, your voice, your timing, your particular way of being in a room. But you take one look at the script and think, this can't be right. These lines are too good. They must be meant for someone more together, more qualified, more something. So you start improvising. You rewrite your lines on the fly. You mumble the important ones. You forget your cues. You walk off stage in the middle of a scene because you're convinced you don't belong there. And then, when the whole production feels chaotic and exhausting and nothing lands the way it should, you conclude, see, I knew I wasn't cut out for this. But the script was written for you. Specifically. You don't have to improve it. You don't have to prove you deserve it. You just have to show up and say your lines. And notice, this isn't a script about being impressive. It's not asking you to be louder, more charismatic, more visible in the ways the world usually rewards. It's just asking you to stop pretending the part isn't yours. Here's where the reframe lands, and I want you to feel this one carefully, because it's subtle. Accepting that you have a real function, a real contribution, something genuine to offer that you didn't have to invent or earn, is not about thinking more of yourself. It's about thinking about yourself less. Let that sit for a second. When you're constantly managing your image, am I coming across okay? Did I say too much? Should I have said more? Do they think I'm competent? Do they think I'm arrogant? You are, ironically, thinking about yourself all day long. The performance of humility is one of the most self-focused activities on earth. It just doesn't look that way from the inside. But when you accept that there's a part for you to play, and you didn't write it, and you don't have to defend it, something relaxes. You stop auditioning. You stop repositioning. You just are the thing in front of you. Back to Dana. One afternoon, she gets a message from a colleague. It says, simply, I don't think anyone else on this team could have held things together the way you did last quarter. Dana's first reaction is automatic. Her hands are already moving. She's typing back, "Oh, I really didn't do that much. It was a team effort. Honestly," and then she stops. Something catches her mid-sentence. It's not ego. It's not pride. It's not the sudden urge to take a bow. It's something quieter than that. It's a small, unfamiliar recognition that maybe, her presence in that room actually mattered. That maybe the deflection she was about to send would have been another tiny lie in a long string of them. She doesn't send the message. She sits with the discomfort of just letting the compliment be true. That pause, right there, is the whole teaching. So what does this look like on a Tuesday afternoon, in the middle of a normal week? It looks like being in a meeting and saying the thing you actually think, instead of the softer version you've been editing in your head. It looks like accepting that someone came to you for help because you're genuinely good at this, not because they were desperate. It looks like having a hard conversation and staying in the room instead of shrinking into apologies. It looks like receiving a thank you and letting it land, instead of batting it away. And internally, it looks like this. When the old voice starts up, who do you think you are? Don't get above yourself. Better play small here. You notice it. You don't fight it. You just notice that it's not actually humility talking. It's fear wearing humility's clothes. And then you go back to the script. You say your line. You show up for the scene in front of you. Here's what I want to leave you with. When you stop managing your image, when you stop rewriting the script, when you let yourself simply do the thing that's yours to do, something underneath goes quiet. The shifting moods, the self-doubt, the constant repositioning, those things start to feel less like who you are. They become weather. They pass across you instead of defining you. And underneath the weather, there's something steadier than you may have realized was there. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove it. You didn't invent it. And you can't lose it. All that's being asked is that you stop insisting you're too small for the part that's already yours. Let's take a few minutes now and let this actually settle in the body, not just the head. If you want to keep practicing with this, you can like the video and subscribe. Let's take a moment now to let this settle with a guided meditation. Let's take a few minutes together. You don't need to do anything special. Just find a way of sitting or resting that feels supported. Let your eyes close, if that's comfortable, or let them soften and look down at nothing in particular. Notice that breathing is already happening. You're not making it happen. It's just going on, quietly, on its own. Feel where your body meets what's holding it. The chair, the floor, the bed. Something is already carrying you. Now bring to mind, gently, the sense of how much effort goes into being you on a normal day. The editing, the adjusting, the small managing of how you come across. You don't have to fix any of it. Just notice it's been there, and for these few minutes, let the performance rest. There's nothing to audition for here. No one is watching. No version of you needs to be presented. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out slowly. Imagine, for a moment, that there's a part for you to play in your own life, and you didn't have to write it. You didn't have to earn it. It was already yours before you started trying so hard. You don't have to know what it is right now. You just have to stop insisting it isn't there. Feel what happens in your chest when you stop arguing with the idea that you matter. Not in a big way. Not in a spotlight way. Just in the quiet, ordinary way that a real person matters to the people around them. Breathe in. Breathe out. Underneath the shifting moods, underneath the self-doubt, underneath the low hum of not enough, there's something steadier. Let yourself rest against it, the way you might lean back into a chair you trust. Nothing to hold up, nothing to prove, nothing to become, just here. Just breathing. Just enough. Stay with this for a few more breaths, at your own pace. And when you're ready, let your attention come back into the room. Feel your hands. Feel your feet. Notice the sounds around you. Carry a little of this quiet with you as you go. Thank you for practicing with us today. If you'd like, there's a free digital copy of A Course in Miracles available through the link in the description. You're also welcome to leave a simple comment such as, "I am grateful. Thank you for being here. For staying through something that isn't always easy to sit with." If today landed even a little, if you notice one place where you've been shrinking that doesn't need to keep shrinking, that's enough. Be gentle with yourself this week. The part is already yours. You don't have to earn it. I'll see you next time.